Hi everyone, Carly here, and I thought it would be a bit of fun to decode the painting that's circulating social media of King Charles, the painting by Jonathan Yeo. Obviously, the real version is out there somewhere. So let's have a good look at this painting. Cheery? No. And red is the colour of love, is it not? So red could be said to represent or represent Charles. The red dragon of the Welsh flag. The red dragon in scripture is Satan, or as we now know, if you have followed the second series of Dark Matters, Sirius, seriously, our son's binary partner. And you won't understand what that means if you don't go watch the first episode, which is a two-parter. So our now King Charles was, of course, Prince Charles, and the then Queen Elizabeth, Queen of the Archons, or Elizabeth, Elven, the Elven Queen of the Archons, the overlords of time, the keepers of the arcana of time. That's what the coronation is. It's a ritual about time, the arcana of time. Said to the then Prince of Carpathia, Prince of Wales, oops, for you shall draw your power from the seat of the dragon, the Draco, the Dracul, the divining serpent, blood cult, war cult, death cult, the Anunnaki, the Canaanites, the Khazars, the dog star worshippers, and the rest and the rest. The Draco or Dragon Bloodlines is the 13th Order of the Dragon. This is why London or Landan, still run by the tribe of Dan today. The Bar Society were called the Gala, and the Gala were ancient Sumerian demons who dragged the dead to the underworld. Then you've got the demon GAP, GAAP. And in banking terms, GAAP is generally accepted accounting principles. I'm not shitting you. And GAAP was the 33rd spirit who ruled over 66 legions of spirit. Another Paul Weller reference there. We're going underground. The Jam, the Justified and Ancients of Moo or Munster Ireland. His latest album, 66. It's always codes and it's always symbols. And Gap ruled over gold and silver. So, in order to know where we are going, as I always say, we need to know where we have been. To control the past is to control the present. And we are told that our origins are Sumerian, ancient Sumer, right? But Sumer in the old Irish language literally translates as dragon. And the city of Landan, that is run by the 13th Order of the Dragon, is surrounded by 13 dragon statues. And again, if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll have heard me talk about that. So what we're talking about is knowing our history that has been purposely hidden from us. Ireland as Atlantis, Scotland as the Holy Land, Great Britain, the people of the Great Covenant. And a lot of what is going on out there is a distraction for what's really going on. Not that it doesn't have meaning. If we look at William Blake's famous painting called The Red Dragon and his poem Jerusalem, I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land. And this is William Blake, amongst other people in throughout history, have been trying to get us to remember, to have this deep remembering or this revelation that's occurring at the moment. And if you think it's not playing out like a script out there, you need to read, the book of Revelation, the book of Reveal. Genesis is genetics. From Genesis to Revelation, we are acting and playing out the script. William Shakespeare said, we are all mere actors on the stage, right? The world is a stage. So the Rothschilds, as we know, still head up this fraternity, this banking fraternity today. Roth literally meaning red. Rothschild translating to the Red Shields, the postmasters of old, those that collect the stone for Rome, the usufruct, the debt, the stone around our necks, the weight of the dead legal fiction, Jupiter or Jupiter, the son of Saturn, Saturn keeping us in the box, the Vitruvian man in the box, the unfolded cube of the cross. Maybe we are already dead, and that this is Hades, and that we are in some kind of death hell. You think that's air you're breathing? Anyway, back to the painting. So let's have a look at that butterfly, a butterfly next to our monarch, mind control, MK Ultra, altars to worship, shipping at altars of the split consciousness or the split mind, and this idea of metamorphosis, of rebirth, of afterlife, after death, though we can argue that we are already dead. We speak the language of the dead fiction. We are the walking dead. And it is this mind control of the masses that this butterfly can perhaps represent. The monarch, the ark of the kingdom, the ark in Freemasonry, the skull, the dome of the mind. And this is where we get this idea of a firmament, a firm meaning stubborn, a meant idiot, the stubborn idiot, the walking dead. And it is this serpent death cult, this cutting of the red ribbon at its ceremonies. I mean, they used to just cut red ribbons at ceremonies, but now they fully go for it, don't they? And we've all seen these rituals. I mean, Eurovision this year was just again more rituals. The opening to the Olympics, the opening to the Commonwealth Games, you name it. If nobody's seen the opening to CERN, and CERN is another name for Sirius, then please do go watch that. There's clocks, zombies, death, time. They love time. They are the overlords of time. They are going underground. This is a distraction as our sun and Sirius move together, and we come into this cataclysmic kind of cosmic dance, and the earth heats itself. Then they are preparing to, yes, go underground. So let's have a look at this guy. Now, I put up a post today, and this painting looks a lot like this painting, does it not? Now, this is Vigo the Carpathian, me being a huge Ghostbusters fan of Ghostbusters 2. Anyone remember this? Remember, they do love making the points through symbols, Manly P. Hall, when we understand symbols, etc., then we will understand what it is they're trying to communicate to us. And they are telling us all the time. Time is this soul trap of commerce. Time condenses energy into matter, and they know this, as we've said. And the famous Vigo quote at the end, when the Ghostbusters managed to push him back into his painting, Vigo says, "Death is but a doorway, time is but a window. I'll be back." So we know that the Carpathian Mountains are of Romania, and this is, of course, King Charles's lineage of Vlad the Impaler, the real-life Dracula or Dracula, blood-sucking vampires, the blood cult, the serpent blood cult, from who are worshipping this belt of Orion, the Canis Major, and this because this is allegedly where they fell from, and that we are perhaps potentially our consciousness has been potentially hijacked by these entities. So King Charles has obviously, noted his connections and to Vlad the Impaler, to the real life Dracula. And I quote, "So I have a bit of stake in the country." Stake, you get it? Never mind. So it is interesting, most certainly, and the codifications in this image. And you may see other things. These are just my thoughts. So it's also interesting to note, just as a side note, that the ship that rescued survivors off the Titanic was actually called the Carpathia. And as we know, the Titanic happily, luckily, in a real roundabout one-stop fashion, sank all the opposers to the Federal Reserve. Great. And allegedly, the Titanic was swapped for its sister ship, the Olympic. Who knows? You decide. We know they love a good ritual, don't they? And this painting is just another one. So let's double the image up. And what do you see? Give it a minute. Like one of those old posters. Do you remember, like, I mean, I'm showing my age now, in the 90s when there used to be poster shops. I remember going into Bolton as a young girl, and you used to go to Athena. Do you remember? Everyone remember Athena shops? And you could buy these posters, and I can't remember what they're called. I'll find out and I'll put it down here. And if you stare at them and stare at them and stare at them long enough, oh my God, it used to drive me nuts. But then you would get an image coming out of it. And I think we can all kind of see what's coming out of this image. There's a few things going on there. And we all know the significance of the goat to Satanists. And as we've discovered, Satan is just another name for Sirius. The upside down pentagram represents matter or the spirit. Upright, it represents spirit over matter. And as we are learning that we know, as I've stated, that that is what these Elven tribes or these Anunnaki bloodlines, that's what they want. They have the technology, and this is just my opinion. Don't have a sweaty. You decide. That they have this technology and they've had this technology for thousands of years to transport their consciousness through time into different avatars. And they pop up on the world stage, play the game, they reset it, they soft reset every 100 years, but they have these huge, big resets. And then they go back underground. Then they pop up and do it all over again because that's what they want. They want immortality. That's what it's about. That's what that metamorphosis is, that transformation. That's why they love transforming things, trans. And that's what these movements are, these agendas. So as we are learning that the story isn't as simple as we kind of thought it was, and that the story is just a distraction perhaps from the real story, the truth of our enslavement and the history of these lands.